Have you ever noticed how everything feels different during an eclipse? The world doesn't just get darker, it gets heavier, more charged, as if the very air is holding its breath. For thousands of years, people across cultures believed eclipses weren't just astronomical accidents, but sacred signals. And they were right. The eclipse is more than a shadow passing over the moon. It is a gateway, a portal where the boundaries between worlds become thinner than ever. Think about it, light is momentarily swallowed by darkness, and in that precise collision, something unusual stirs. The energies that normally remain hidden find a chance to surface. For the chosen ones, this isn't just symbolic, it's experiential. Your dreams become more vivid, your emotions intensify, synchronicities multiply. It feels as if the universe itself is whispering messages directly to you. But here's the paradox. What makes the eclipse a divine opening also makes it dangerous. Just as the light becomes more vulnerable to shadow, so do you. The forces of distraction, envy, and deception take advantage of this thinning veil. They try to enter not through dramatic rituals, but through the simplest gestures: a knock on the door, a sudden call, a face from the past. The ancients understood this deeply. In many traditions, people were warned not to go outside, not to eat, not even to look directly at the eclipse. It wasn't superstition, it was wisdom. They recognized that an eclipse rearranges the energy grid of the Earth and opens unseen channels. If you are aligned, this is when visions and revelations flood in. But if you're careless, this is when intrusions happen. This is why your door, the physical one in your home and the invisible one in your spirit, matters so much right now. A door is more than wood or metal, it is a threshold. On one side is your sanctuary, your protected energy. On the other side is the unknown, waiting to see if you'll let it in. During the eclipse, opening that threshold without discernment is like handing out the keys to your soul. You may think you're just answering a visitor, but in truth, you are lowering your shield during the most spiritually vulnerable hours of the season. This is why chosen ones must be especially alert. What you allow in, or refuse to allow in, during this eclipse could shift the course of your destiny. So when the eclipse comes, remember, the gateway is open. Not everything knocking is meant for your highest good. Not every invitation is divine. Sometimes, the greatest act of protection is silence, stillness, and keeping the door closed. Because the eclipse doesn't just test the heavens, it tests you. The moon has always been more than a glowing rock in the sky. It pulls the tides of the oceans, moves the waters within our own bodies, and stirs emotions we thought we had buried long ago. Even science acknowledges that the moon affects cycles, moods, and rhythms. But when the full moon appears, its power is magnified, like a mirror reflecting back everything you've been holding inside. Now, imagine that intensity multiplied by the mysterious force of an eclipse. The result is a surge of energy unlike anything else. During a full moon, sleeplessness rises, tempers flare, and hidden truths surface. That's why it's often called the illumination phase. What was hidden in shadow during the new moon cycle comes out into the open. Secrets are revealed, emotions spill over. And for the chosen ones, this means your spiritual senses are heightened to an almost unbearable degree. You feel everything, your own energy, the emotions of others, even the subtle vibrations in the air around you. Now when a lunar eclipse cloaks this full moon, that illumination doesn't vanish, it intensifies. The energy turns sharper, more concentrated. It's as if the moon, for a brief moment, is put under divine pressure, and every vibration radiates down to earth with amplified strength. This is why people throughout history prepared for eclipses with fasting, prayer, or rituals of cleansing. They knew that unprepared hearts could be swept away by the tidal wave of energy unleashed. Think of it like standing near an ocean at high tide. The waves are already powerful, but now a storm is brewing. If you don't anchor yourself, the surge can pull you under. The full moon eclipse is that storm. It heightens what you feel, what you see, and even what you fear. For some, it's liberating. For others, it's overwhelming. This is also the reason doors, physical and spiritual, become dangerous during this alignment. When energy is this charged, people who are carriers of negative influence are unconsciously drawn toward those who hold light. They might not even know why they suddenly feel the need to reach out, knock, or test you. It's not them, it's the energy moving through them, searching for an outlet. And if you answer, you become that outlet. For the chosen ones, the eclipse is both a magnifying glass and a mirror. It magnifies the forces that surround you and mirrors back your own readiness to handle them. If you've been aligned, this surge becomes an initiation, a chance to receive divine clarity and new direction. But if you're distracted, careless, or unguarded, it becomes a test, pulling you into encounters that drain your power. This is why, during the full moon eclipse, you don't open doors, literal or symbolic, without discernment, because the energy is not neutral. It is charged, electrified, and seeking balance. You are either the anchor in the storm or the one swept away by it, and the choice is made in silence, stillness, and awareness. A door is never just a door. On the surface, it's a piece of wood, metal, or glass separating the inside from the outside. But on a deeper level, a door is a threshold, a symbolic line between safety and vulnerability, between the known and the unknown, between your sanctuary and the world that presses against it. And during the full moon eclipse, this threshold becomes more than physical. It transforms into a spiritual battleground. Think about the act of opening a door. It requires choice. You hear the knock or the bell and immediately your mind reacts. Should I open? Who could it be? That hesitation, that moment of uncertainty, is exactly where spiritual infiltration begins. Eclipses magnify this energy. They intensify doubt, curiosity, and even fear. And when you reach for the handle, you're not just touching metal, you're making a spiritual decision. Throughout history, doors have symbolized opportunity and danger. In ancient texts, a closed door represented divine protection, while an open door without discernment was seen as an invitation for spirits, both good and bad. Even in everyday life, we talk about doors opening when describing life changes or closing doors to leave behind the past. The language itself reveals a truth. Doors are not neutral, they are passages of power. During the eclipse, when cosmic energy collides in unusual ways, your door becomes a magnet. What you allow through it can either bless you or drain you. And here is the catch: dark energies rarely appear as dark. They disguise themselves. They might arrive as an unexpected friend, a sudden opportunity, or even a stranger with an innocent request. Yet behind the mask, their presence carries disruption. The chosen ones feel this more strongly than anyone. You've probably noticed it in your own life. Just as you're about to meditate, pray, or center yourself, someone knocks. Just as you find peace, an interruption comes. This isn't coincidence. It's a pattern, and the eclipse magnifies that pattern tenfold. This is why closing your door is not an act of fear, it is an act of sovereignty. You are declaring that your energy, your home, and your destiny are not open to random entry. You are choosing discernment over impulse. And in spiritual warfare, discernment is your greatest shield. Now reflect on this. How many times have you opened a door, literally or figuratively, that later brought chaos into your life? Perhaps it was saying yes when you felt no. Perhaps it was letting someone in who drained you for weeks. The eclipse teaches you this lesson again, but with sharper clarity. Guard your thresholds. During this celestial alignment, your door becomes a symbol of your destiny. If you guard it, you remain aligned and protected. If you open it carelessly, you risk letting forces in that take months, even years, to undo. The eclipse is not the time to gamble. It is the time to stand firm, to keep the door shut, and to honor the sacredness of your threshold. Not everything that knocks deserves to be let in. During a full moon eclipse, this truth becomes painfully clear. The air is charged, your spirit is heightened, and unseen forces stir restlessly. Just as divine revelations are made more accessible, so too are destructive influences. The eclipse does not only open a gateway for light, it also cracks the door for shadows. And those shadows, sensing your glow, will try to enter. Here the unsettling part: unwanted energies rarely appear as obvious threats. They don't show up wearing horns or shouting danger. Instead, they slip in quietly, masked in familiarity, urgency, or innocence. It could be a sudden knock in the middle of your meditation. It could be a call from someone you haven't spoken to in years. It could even be a stranger who insists they need your help right now. The disguise is always meant to trick your compassion, your curiosity, or your distraction. Why does this happen most intensely during eclipses? Because your energy is amplified. The chosen ones shine brightest when the veil is thinnest, and that brightness is like a beacon in the spiritual realm. Just as moths swarm toward a flame, energies, both divine and deceptive, swarm toward you. Some seek to uplift, but others seek to attach themselves, draining your vitality, redirecting your focus. or sowing confusion. Think of it this way: energy is contagious. When you allow someone or something into your space, you are not just letting in their body, you are letting in their frequency. And during the eclipse, frequencies clash harder than ever. If someone enters carrying heaviness, resentment, or chaos, that energy collides with yours like a storm front. The result? Emotional exhaustion, spiritual disconnection, and an unsettled heart that lingers long after the knock is gone. This is why discernment is so critical. Many traditions taught that one should stay indoors, close windows and doors, and avoid interaction during eclipses. On the surface, it may seem like superstition, but spiritually it's protection. It acknowledges that not every presence is meant for your good, and that the most dangerous entryways are the ones you underestimate. Chosen ones understand this. You are a target not because you are weak, but because you are strong. Your spiritual light attracts both admiration and attack. And during the eclipse, when the veil is thin, forces that normally can't reach you may suddenly find a way in if you give them permission. So when you hear the knock, when your phone buzzes unexpectedly, when someone suddenly needs your attention during this sacred alignment, pause. Ask yourself, does this feel aligned, or does this feel like intrusion? Because the moment you open your door, physically or spiritually, you've already made your choice. The unwanted energies don't always need to break in. They wait for you to invite them, and the eclipse is their perfect opportunity. Protect your entryways, guard your space. Not everything that knocks is a blessing, sometimes it's the test. If you've ever felt like life becomes most difficult right when you're on the edge of a breakthrough, you already understand the principle of testing. Chosen ones are not tested because they are weak. They are tested because they are marked, because their destiny carries weight, and because their light cannot go unnoticed. And during the full moon eclipse, the intensity of that testing reaches a level that can shake even the strongest souls. Why? Because the eclipse is a spiritual checkpoint. Imagine walking on a path lit with divine purpose, and suddenly a gate appears. To move forward, you must prove your readiness. The test doesn't come in the form of a written exam. It comes through interruptions, temptations, and choices that seem small on the surface, but carry enormous spiritual consequences. During eclipses, distractions multiply. The knock at your door, the sudden text, the unexpected visitor, they aren't always random. They are often the test in disguise. Will you give your energy to what is urgent but meaningless, or will you protect it for what is sacred and eternal? That decision separates those who remain aligned from those who stumble into detours. The chosen ones are targeted more heavily because their energy is rare. Your intuition, your vision, your resilience, they shine brighter during these cosmic alignments, and that makes you visible not only to divine forces, but also to disruptive ones. Light always attracts shadows, and the greater your purpose, the greater the resistance that tries to block it. Think of the eclipse as a magnifying glass. It enlarges both the blessings around you and the obstacles in your path. If you're walking with clarity, the magnification helps you see further. If you're distracted, the magnification blinds you with noise. And here's the truth: tests are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine you, to strengthen your discernment, and to confirm that you are ready for the next level of your journey. But make no mistake, the tests can feel relentless. You may experience emotional outbursts from people around you, sudden conflicts, or invitations that seem harmless but carry heavy spiritual weight. You may even feel an inner pull to open the door, answer the call, or say yes when your spirit whispers no. That tension is the test itself. The eclipse doesn't test to punish, it tests to prepare. Every time you choose silence over chaos, boundaries over intrusion, discernment over distraction, you pass. And each time you pass, you reinforce your shield, you strengthen your destiny, and you signal to the universe, I am ready for more. So when the eclipse comes and the knocks grow louder, remember, this is not just coincidence. It is the testing ground of the chosen ones. Do not fear the test. Recognize it, stand firm, and understand that your ability to say no today secures the blessings waiting for you tomorrow. Not every visitor is a friend, and not every invitation is meant for your good. During the full moon eclipse, when energy is at its most unstable, deceptive forces often appear in the form of the familiar, the urgent, or the strangely timed. They knock at your door not because they need you, but because they want access to what you carry. Imagine this: you've been fasting, praying, or centering yourself, and suddenly someone you haven't seen in years sends you a message. Out of nowhere, an old conflict resurfaces, or a stranger appears at your door with a request that feels oddly pressing. On the surface, these seem like coincidences, but under eclipse energy, coincidences are rarely random. They are signs, tests, or traps. False invitations are designed to catch you off guard. They exploit your natural instincts, your kindness, your curiosity, or your longing for connection. But chosen ones must learn that not every hand extended should be taken. During the eclipse, even small interactions can open large spiritual doors. A casual yes may bring lingering heaviness into your home. A polite invitation accepted could shift your focus away from what truly matters in this moment. Strange visitors often carry a feeling you can't quite explain. Maybe they smile, but their eyes feel empty. Maybe they speak softly, but their presence makes you restless. That unease is your spirit sounding the alarm. Too many people ignore that inner nudge and regret it later. During an eclipse, you cannot afford to dismiss it. This is why traditions across the world warned against contact with outsiders during celestial shifts. Some cultures taught that even animals behaved strangely under eclipses, as if they too sensed the disruption. People were told to stay inside, remain silent, and avoid unnecessary contact, not because of superstition, but because of wisdom. The boundary you keep protects the blessing you carry. For the chosen ones, false invitations are not always obvious. They may come disguised as sudden opportunities, money offered with strings attached, relationships that promise comfort but hide chaos, or advice that sounds kind but carries manipulation. And the timing, always critical. They arrive right when you're stepping into breakthrough, right when your clarity is sharpest, hoping to pull you off track. The eclipse amplifies the power of choice. When you say no to a false invitation, you are not just rejecting a moment, you are protecting your destiny. You are affirming that your energy is sacred, your time is purposeful, and your spirit is not open to intrusion. So when the strange visitor comes, when the unexpected knock rattles your door, or when the invitation appears too sudden to ignore, pause, ask yourself, does this carry peace or does this carry pressure? Peace is of the divine. Pressure often comes from deception. Learn to tell the difference, and you will guard not just your home, but your very soul. The nights surrounding an eclipse are never ordinary. For the chosen ones, sleep becomes a theater where messages play out with startling clarity. Dreams turn vivid, strange, and unshakably real, as if the subconscious itself is wide awake. This is no accident. The full moon eclipse doesn't just affect the tides of the oceans, it stirs the tides within your mind. And when the veil thins, the unseen has easier access to your inner world. You may notice that during this period, your dreams are more symbolic. You might dream of doors you cannot open, animals that watch you, or shadows that chase you. These are not meaningless fragments, they are warnings and signals. In many traditions, eclipses were understood as times when the divine spoke louder through visions and omens, and dreams were the most accessible channel. Premonitions also become stronger. You may get flashes of something before it happens, a sudden sense of déjà vu, a heavy feeling that something is about to occur, or a random thought that proves to be true hours later. These are not coincidences. They are your inner compass trying to guide you away from danger and toward protection. The danger lies in ignoring these signals. Many people wake up from a disturbing dream and brush it off. But during the eclipse, your subconscious is amplifying truths you may not want to face. If you dream of someone knocking at your door, it could be a literal warning. If you dream of losing something valuable, it could be telling you to protect what matters most. The symbols are rarely random. They are echoes of spiritual reality bleeding into your rest. Chosen ones often feel this more intensely because your sensitivity is already heightened. Where others see just a dream, you see patterns, repetitions, and messages, and the eclipse amplifies this gift. But with great clarity comes great responsibility. You must not dismiss what you're shown. Instead, write it down, pray over it, and ask for discernment. Sometimes the dream is not meant to scare you, it is meant to prepare you. Think of it as a divine early warning system. Just as sirens alert you to storms, your dreams alert you to spiritual weather. The eclipse is a storm of energy, and your subconscious is tuned into every shift. If you ignore the siren, you risk walking straight into chaos. But if you heed it, you can shelter your spirit and emerge stronger. So pay attention to the nights around the eclipse. Keep a journal by your bed. Record what you see, no matter how strange, because often the very thing you dreamed will connect with what happens the next day. The eclipse magnifies not only the external, but also the internal. And in that magnification, your dreams become your greatest shield. Distraction is one of the most underestimated weapons of spiritual interference. Rarely does darkness come at you in the form of a dramatic confrontation. Instead, it arrives as a small interruption, a sudden noise, or a seemingly harmless knock at the exact moment you are about to align with the divine. And during the full moon eclipse, these distractions are not random, they are strategic. Imagine this: you sit down to pray, meditate, or simply breathe in silence, and suddenly your phone buzzes with a message that feels urgent. Or you light a candle to focus your energy, and there's an unexpected knock at the door. The timing feels uncanny because it is. Distractions during the eclipse are not coincidences, they are designed diversions. Their purpose: to pull you away from stillness and keep you from receiving the clarity waiting for you. Chosen ones, you need to understand that distraction is not always loud. Sometimes it comes as an innocent thought, a sudden craving, or a restless urge to do something else. It convinces you that there's something more pressing than staying in alignment. But the truth is, nothing is more pressing than guarding your spirit during these celestial hours. This is why ancient traditions emphasized silence and stillness during eclipses. People were told not to eat, not to wander, and not to engage in unnecessary activity. On the surface, it looked restrictive. Spiritually, it was protective, because once you're distracted, your energy becomes scattered, and scattered energy is easier to infiltrate. Think of distraction as a crack in your shield. Even if your defenses are strong, that tiny crack allows entry. Every time you choose to open the door, answer the call, or break your focus, you risk letting in influences that ride on the energy of the eclipse. What begins as a small interruption can ripple into days of confusion or weeks of delay in your spiritual growth. For the chosen ones, the trap of distraction often comes disguised as responsibility. Suddenly, someone needs you. Suddenly, you feel guilty for not answering. But discern this carefully. Real responsibilities will still be there after the eclipse. False urgencies disappear once the moment passes. The trap is in making you believe that everything must be attended to immediately, when in reality, the most important thing is your alignment. Here is your shield: awareness. The moment you recognize a distraction for what it is, you strip it of its power. You reclaim your focus, you strengthen your boundaries, and you remain anchored in the storm. The eclipse doesn't require you to fight harder, it requires you to guard smarter. So when the knocks come, when your phone lights up, when your mind wanders, pause and ask, is this pulling me closer to my purpose or away from it? If the answer is away, then it's not worth your energy. Protect your stillness, for in stillness lies your strength. Not every person who comes into your life during an eclipse comes to give. Many come to take, and not always consciously. Some people, without realizing it, feed on the light and energy of others. These are what we call energy vampires, and during celestial events like the full moon eclipse, when your aura is glowing brighter than usual, they are drawn to you like moths to a flame. You can feel it when it happens. You're calm, centered, maybe even uplifted, and then someone enters your space. Within minutes, you feel heavy, tired, restless, or emotionally drained. It's as if they siphoned off your spiritual battery. The eclipse amplifies this phenomenon because energy is already heightened. Where the average interaction might drain you slightly, during this alignment, it can leave you completely depleted. The unsettling part is that energy vampirism isn't always malicious. Sometimes it's a friend, family member, or coworker who unconsciously leans on your light because theirs is dim. They may not even know they're doing it, but whether intentional or not, the effect is the same. You lose focus, clarity, and strength right when you need it most. There are also those who are more deliberate. These individuals thrive on drama, conflict, or chaos. They seek you out during charged times because your energy field is wide open, radiant, and easy to tap into. They may provoke arguments, demand attention, or lure you into conversations that feel endless but lead nowhere. If you allow it, They walk away refueled while you're left spiritually exhausted. Why does this matter during an eclipse? Because this is a time when your energy is meant to be directed inward, toward clarity, revelation, and alignment. If you let others drain you, you miss the downloads, the insights, and the breakthroughs that were meant for you. You cannot pour into your destiny with an empty vessel. The signs of energy vampirism are clear if you pay attention. Do you feel unusually tired after talking to someone? Do you sense agitation or heaviness lingering long after they leave? Do you feel pressured, manipulated, or guilty when you set boundaries with them? These are all indicators that your energy is being consumed. And during the eclipse, the cost of ignoring these signs is higher than usual. Chosen ones must guard their energy like treasure because it is treasure. The eclipse amplifies your gifts, your vision, and your aura. That glow is not for everyone to touch. When you close your door, physically and spiritually, you deny access to those who would drain what is sacred. Remember, not everyone who wants your attention deserves it. Not everyone who demands your time should receive it. Energy is currency, and the eclipse is a time when spending it carelessly can alter your path. Protect it, preserve it, and understand that saying no to an energy vampire is saying yes to your divine purpose. Look up during a lunar eclipse, and you'll see it play out in the sky, light swallowed by shadow. The glowing face of the moon, usually so steady and constant, is gradually veiled by darkness. This cosmic drama is more than just astronomy, it is a mirror of the spiritual battle happening within and around you. The eclipse reminds us that light and shadow are always in tension. They coexist, they push and pull, and they compete for dominance. For the chosen ones, this is not a distant metaphor. It's a lived reality. Every step toward purpose attracts resistance. Every act of faith invites doubt. Every burst of clarity is followed by an attempt to confuse. The eclipse magnifies this conflict, making the invisible struggle visible in the heavens. During this alignment, you may feel it more sharply. One moment, you're filled with peace, clarity, and divine presence. The next, a sudden wave of doubt, fear, or heaviness tries to settle over you. This swing is not random. It is the battle of light and shadow playing out through your spirit. The very forces that want to see you rise are matched by those that want to see you fall. But here's the truth. The eclipse does not last forever. Shadow covers the moon, but it never destroys it. Light may be hidden, but it remains. This is the message for the chosen ones. No matter how overwhelming the darkness feels, your light cannot be erased. It can only be tested. The danger comes when you mistake temporary shadow for permanent defeat. Many give up in the eclipse moment, believing the darkness is stronger. But the chosen know better. You understand that the shadow's presence is proof of the light's power, because only what shines attracts covering. Practically, this battle reveals itself in your choices. Do you cling to peace when fear knocks? Do you keep your door closed when curiosity tempts you to open it? Do you stand firm in your faith when distractions swarm around you? Each small act of resistance is not just a decision, it is a declaration that your light will not be swallowed. The eclipse is also symbolic of the inner struggle. Every chosen one carries both light and shadow within, the healed self and the broken self, the faithful self and the doubting self. The eclipse moment brings these inner forces face to face. It is a chance to confront what hides in your own darkness and choose once again to align with the light. So when the moon darkens and the world feels heavier, remember, this is not a time to fear. It is a time to recognize that you are standing in the middle of the battle between light and shadow, and your awareness, your choices, and your boundaries are the weapons that decide the outcome. Darkness may press against you, but it cannot claim you. The eclipse is the battlefield, but you are the warrior. And as long as you stand in truth, the light will always return. If the eclipse is a battlefield of light and shadow, then intuition is your compass. It is the quiet voice within that whispers, wait, go, don't open that door. For the chosen ones, intuition isn't just a gut feeling, it's a divine guidance system. And during the full moon eclipse, this guidance becomes sharper than ever. The question is, will you trust it? Intuition often doesn't shout. It comes as a subtle nudge, a sudden unease, or an unexplained sense that something is off. Maybe you feel your chest tighten when someone calls. Maybe your stomach flips when you think about saying yes. Maybe you just sense heaviness when you stand near a certain person. These signals are your spirit's way of speaking to you, and under eclipse energy, these signals are magnified. But here's the catch: many ignore them. They second-guess, rationalize, or talk themselves out of what they know deep down. They open the door even though their body said not to. They entertain the call even though their spirit was restless. And afterward, they wonder why they feel drained, lost, or uneasy. The eclipse doesn't create deception, it reveals how well you listen to your inner warning system. Strengthening intuition begins with trust. The more you honor those subtle nudges, the louder they become. Every time you follow the no you feel inside, you train your spirit to recognize danger quicker. Every time you act on the quiet yes, you reinforce your alignment with divine guidance. Intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. During the eclipse, distractions, visitors, and false invitations test this very muscle. You won't always see the danger with your eyes, but you will sense it. The knock at the door may sound ordinary, but something within you whispers, "Don't open it." That whisper is not paranoia, it is protection. Practical ways to strengthen intuition during the eclipse include silence, stillness, and paying attention to your body. If your energy suddenly dips when you think about an action, that's your answer. If peace floods you when you consider another choice, that's your confirmation. The divine often speaks not through thunder, but through peace or the lack of it. Chosen ones must remember, intuition is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. If you ignore it, you invite unnecessary battles. If you honor it, you walk with clarity even in the darkest moments. The eclipse magnifies both danger and discernment. Trust the discernment. So when the shadow covers the moon and the knocks echo louder, pause, don't rush, ask your spirit, what do I feel? If there is pressure, heaviness, or confusion, that is your signal to hold back. If there is peace, clarity, and calm, that is your signal to step forward. The eclipse tests many, but the chosen ones pass by trusting the compass within. Your intuition is not a luxury, it is your shield, and during the eclipse, it is your most reliable guide. Long before telescopes, satellites, or scientific explanations, humanity already treated eclipses with awe and caution. To the ancients, an eclipse was never just an astronomical event. It was a sign, a disruption, and sometimes a warning. Across cultures and continents, traditions emerged that all pointed to the same truth. Eclipses are moments when the veil between worlds thins, when the natural and spiritual collide, and when protection is more important than curiosity. In Vedic tradition, eclipses were seen as times of spiritual danger. Ancient texts describe how negative forces, represented by the shadowy figures Rahu and Ketu, swallowed the light of the sun or moon. People were warned not to eat, not to sleep outside, and not to expose themselves to the eclipse's energy. Temples were closed, and many observed fasting or prayer until the light returned. It was understood that unseen energies were at play, and the safest response was withdrawal and inner purification. In indigenous traditions across the Americas, eclipses were often interpreted as a cosmic battle. The Cherokee, for example, believed that a great sky creature attempted to consume the moon. Communities would gather to drum, chant, or create noise, not merely as ritual, but as a way of protecting their people and restoring balance. The message was clear. Eclipses disrupted the order of things, and vigilance was required. In Islamic tradition, eclipses were seen as powerful reminders of God's majesty and signs that called people to prayer. The Prophet Muhammad instructed his followers to engage in special prayers during eclipses, treating them not as random events, but as divine signals meant to redirect attention to the Creator. The underlying wisdom was the same. These were not times for carelessness, but for heightened awareness. Even in Europe, where fear often mixed with superstition, eclipses were regarded as omens. Kings, queens, and rulers often consulted astrologers before major decisions if an eclipse was near. Ordinary people were told to stay indoors, avoid traveling, and guard themselves against misfortune. While the interpretations varied, the consistent thread across cultures was this: eclipses are moments of instability, and boundaries must be protected. So what do these ancient warnings mean for you, the chosen ones, today? They remind us that our ancestors already knew the danger of being spiritually unguarded during these alignments. They passed down wisdom that, though cloaked in myth and ritual, carried deep truth. When light is swallowed by shadow, discernment becomes your greatest protection. These traditions were not born from ignorance. They were born from awareness, awareness that energy shifts during eclipses, that unseen forces move more freely, and that careless openness can invite harm. The ancients didn't have to understand cosmic mechanics to know that some doors should remain shut. Chosen ones, when you follow these ancient warnings, you align with timeless wisdom. Stay indoors, stay grounded, stay aware. Do not treat the eclipse as entertainment. Treat it as instruction, because what our ancestors feared, we must now recognize as truth. Eclipses demand respect, boundaries, and silence. Every chosen one must understand this unshakable truth. Your destiny is only as strong as the boundaries you set to protect it. The full moon eclipse doesn't just test your faith or your focus, it tests your ability to say no. And that no is not rejection, it is protection. It is the law of boundaries, and without it, even the brightest soul can be drained, misled, or delayed. A boundary is more than a wall, it is a declaration. When you keep your door closed during the eclipse, you are not simply refusing a knock, you are affirming that your energy, your home, and your spirit are not open to intrusion. Boundaries create order in a world that thrives on chaos. They tell the unseen as well as the seen, this space is sacred, this vessel is guarded, this destiny is untouchable. The eclipse magnifies why boundaries matter. Energies swirl unpredictably, emotions run high, and distractions disguise themselves as opportunities. Without firm boundaries, you are pulled into conversations that drain you, situations that confuse you, and interactions that leave a residue on your soul. But with strong boundaries, you remain a fortress, unshaken by the noise outside. Consider how often people cross invisible lines in daily life. They demand your time without respecting your rest. They unload their problems without considering your energy. They invite themselves into your space without asking if it's welcome. Each small intrusion weakens your shield if you do not enforce your boundary. And during the eclipse, these intrusions intensify, not because you are weak, but because your light is shining brighter, attracting more attention. Boundaries are spiritual armor. Just as locks protect your home, boundaries protect your soul. Saying no is not selfish, it is sacred stewardship of your purpose. You are not rejecting people, you are rejecting the forces that would use people, knowingly or unknowingly, to derail you. This is why chosen ones must not fear being misunderstood when they draw the line. A closed door during an eclipse is not a sign of isolation, it is a sign of wisdom. Ancient wisdom reflects this too. Many traditions taught that during eclipses, doors and windows should be sealed, fires covered, and interactions minimized. On the surface, it looked like ritual. In truth, it was boundary setting at its purest form. It was a way of declaring, this space is untouchable until the light returns. So ask yourself, where are your doors open? Who has access to your energy that should? What conversations drain you? What habits leave you exposed? The eclipse is your reminder to reclaim your authority. Boundaries are not about building walls, they are about creating gates. Gates you control. Gates that open only to peace, love, and alignment, and close firmly to intrusion, chaos, and distraction. During this eclipse, the law of boundaries will be your greatest defense. Guard your space, guard your energy, guard your destiny, because what you protect today determines what you manifest tomorrow. When the sky darkens during an eclipse, the wise do not only watch, they prepare. Protection is not paranoia, it is awareness. Just as a sailor secures the ship before a storm, chosen ones must secure their spirit before the cosmic tides of an eclipse. This is where rituals of protection come in, not empty gestures, but intentional acts that seal your space and strengthen your energy. One of the simplest yet most powerful rituals is cleansing your environment. Light incense, burn sage, or use natural resins like frankincense and myrrh. The smoke doesn't just shift the atmosphere, it represents the lifting of energy into the divine. As it moves through your home, it breaks stagnant frequencies and dissolves heaviness. Walk it through doorways, corners, and thresholds, speaking words of intention. This space is sealed. Only peace may enter here. Another ritual is the use of salt or water. Salt has been seen across cultures as a purifier and protector. Placing a small dish of salt at your door or sprinkling it across thresholds creates a boundary against spiritual intrusion. Water, too, can be blessed with prayer and used to anoint doors, windows, and even your own forehead as a sign of sealing. These simple elements, when combined with faith, create a shield stronger than any visible lock. Prayer and spoken word are perhaps the most essential protection rituals. The eclipse is not the time for casual words, it is the time for declarations. Speak over your home, no harm shall enter, no shadow may cross this threshold, my destiny is guarded. Words carry power, and during celestial alignments, their power multiplies. When you align your speech with divine authority, you set invisible barriers that no unwanted energy can cross. Fasting or stillness is another form of protection. By withholding from physical indulgence, you center your energy inward. You remind yourself that not every urge must be satisfied, not every knock must be answered. Fasting sharpens discernment, making your spiritual senses quicker to recognize deception and slower to fall into distraction. You can also use physical symbols of light, candles, oil lamps, or even simple lamps to remind yourself that though the moon darkens, light still prevails. Place one near your door or window and let it burn as a silent declaration that your home remains aligned with illumination, no matter how deep the shadow outside grows. And finally, silence itself is a ritual. Close the curtains, turn off the noise, and simply be still. Sometimes the strongest protection is refusal to engage, to answer, to be pulled into the chaos. The ancients knew this. They stayed indoors, they meditated, they withdrew. It wasn't weakness, it was strength, choosing preservation over exposure. Chosen one's protection is not complicated. It is intention made visible. Whether through smoke, salt, words, or silence, what matters most is the authority with which you act. When the eclipse comes, prepare your space, prepare your spirit, and declare, this door is sealed, this heart is guarded, this destiny is untouchable. Not all intrusions come with a loud knock. Some slip in softly, cloaked in kindness, courtesy, or familiarity. This is the nature of manipulative energies. They rarely announce themselves as threats. Instead, they wrap their intentions in words that sound caring, faces that seem harmless, or situations that feel urgent. And during a full moon eclipse, when the veil is thin and the atmosphere charged, manipulative energies become bolder, testing your discernment in subtle but powerful ways. Manipulation thrives on your compassion. It knows you are wired to help, to comfort, to connect, so it disguises itself as neediness, flattery, or even desperation. Someone might say, I just need a few minutes of your time, or I couldn't think of anyone else to turn to. On the surface, it feels noble to respond, but spiritually you must pause, because not every call for help is genuine and not every invitation is innocent. The eclipse amplifies these dynamics. Chosen ones radiate heightened energy during this time, and manipulators, conscious or not, are drawn to that glow. They sense you have clarity, strength, or spiritual light they lack, and their instinct is to pull you into their orbit. The danger is not only in the interaction, but in the energy exchange that follows. After you engage, you may feel drained, distracted, or unsettled, clear signs you've been pulled into someone else's agenda. Recognizing manipulative energy requires attentiveness to patterns, not just words. Manipulators often create pressure where none should exist. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. They rush you into decisions without allowing time to reflect. They appeal to your emotions rather than your logic, hoping you'll act impulsively. During an eclipse, these tactics can feel even more convincing because your emotional sensitivity is already heightened. Ask yourself, do I feel pressured or peaceful? Do I feel energized or exhausted after this interaction? Do I feel respected or coerced? These questions reveal the difference between a divine connection and a manipulative one. Divine connections bring peace, even in urgency. Manipulative ones leave confusion, tension, and unease. It's important to remember that manipulative energies aren't always malicious. Sometimes people act out of fear, insecurity, or desperation. But whether intentional or unconscious, the effect on you is the same. It pulls you away from alignment. And during the eclipse, even small detours can ripple into larger delays on your path. The wisest response is discernment paired with boundaries. You don't need to confront or accuse, you simply need to stand firm. A calm but clear, not now, or I cannot do this, is often enough. Protecting your spirit does not make you unkind, it makes you wise. Chosen ones, during the eclipse, manipulative energies will test your ability to trust yourself over external pressure. The true lesson is this: manipulation loses its power the moment you recognize it. Once you see the pattern, you are no longer caught in it. And when you guard your door, literally and spiritually, you remind the universe that your energy is not for exploitation, but for destiny. When the shadow crosses the moon, it is not only the sky that darkens, something within you stirs too. The full moon eclipse doesn't just reveal external dangers, it also acts as a mirror, reflecting your own hidden fears back at you. This is why so many people feel uneasy, restless, or even emotionally shaken during eclipses. It's not only cosmic turbulence, it's inner turbulence. Fear has a way of hiding in the corners of our hearts. Maybe it's the fear of being alone, the fear of rejection, or the fear of losing control. Under normal circumstances, you can distract yourself from it, bury it under daily tasks, or silence it with busyness. But during an eclipse, when the energy intensifies and the veil thins, those fears rise to the surface like shadows cast in the night. For chosen ones, this is both a challenge and a gift. It's uncomfortable because you're confronted with the very things you've avoided, but it's powerful because you're given a rare chance to face them directly. Think of the eclipse as holding up a cosmic mirror. Whatever darkness is within you, it shows you clearly, undeniably, and urgently. This is why you may feel sudden waves of doubt during an eclipse. You might question your purpose, your strength, or even your ability to withstand the tests around you. Old memories may resurface, old wounds may ache, and insecurities you thought you buried may whisper louder. These aren't random, they're revelations. They're the shadows of your own being asking to be acknowledged, healed, and transformed. Here is the danger: if you ignore these reflections, they can control you. Fear left unexamined becomes the doorway through which deception enters. For example, if you fear loneliness, you may be more tempted to open the door to the wrong person just to avoid silence. If you fear rejection, you may allow manipulative energies to stay simply to feel accepted. This is why the eclipse is both outer test and inner mirror. It exposes the entry points fear has carved into your soul. But here is the opportunity: once you see the fear, you can name it. Once you name it, you can strip it of its power. Fear thrives in the dark, but in the light of awareness, it weakens. The eclipse offers you this paradoxical blessing: darkness that forces you to seek light. Chosen ones do not resist this mirror. Instead, use it. When fear rises, don't run. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What door have I left unguarded within myself? Because the greatest doors you must close during the eclipse are not only the ones on your house, they are the ones inside your heart. The eclipse will show you your shadows, not to break you, but to prepare you. And if you are willing to face them, you will emerge lighter, stronger, and unshakably aligned. When the universe wants your attention, it rarely whispers once. It repeats. Numbers line up, dreams echo each other, animals behave strangely, and events unfold with eerie precision. These are synchronicities, the signs that reality itself is speaking in patterns. And during a full moon eclipse, these patterns multiply, intensify, and demand your notice. For the chosen ones, ignoring them is not an option. Have you ever seen the same number sequence over and over on clocks, receipts, or street signs? 11, 11, 3, 33, 7, 17. To many, it seems like coincidence. But during celestial alignments, these sequences are more than random. They're messages. They confirm your path or they warn you of shifts. Pay attention, because each number carries frequency, and frequency carries guidance. Animals, too, act as messengers. Dogs may bark at nothing, cats may stare at corners, or birds may gather and call in unusual ways. In ancient traditions, this wasn't dismissed as odd behavior, it was respected as a signal. Animals sense energy changes before humans do. If they act unsettled during the eclipse, it is often a reflection of unseen turbulence in the atmosphere. Synchronicities can also appear through events. Perhaps you think of someone and they suddenly call. Perhaps you keep hearing the same phrase from different people in one day. Perhaps you see symbols repeating in dreams and waking life alike. These are not accidents. They are threads in a tapestry woven by the divine to catch your attention. And during the eclipse, the tapestry becomes bold, almost impossible to ignore. Warning signs, however, are the shadow side of synchronicity. While synchronicities confirm alignment, warnings redirect you from danger. A sudden heaviness in your body, a door slamming unexpectedly, or even small mishaps, like losing keys or electronics glitching, can all be signals urging you to pause, not push forward. The eclipse magnifies these warnings as if the universe is saying, "This path is blocked, don't open this door." Chosen ones, you must learn to differentiate between coincidence and communication. Coincidence leaves you with no resonance. Communication leaves you unsettled, thoughtful, or affirmed. If a sign stirs something within you, it is meant for you. During the eclipse, these signs are not subtle, they are amplified for your protection. This is why it is vital to remain still and attentive during these hours. If you are distracted by visitors, false invitations, or manipulative energies, you miss the signs. The eclipse is not only about resisting what knocks, it is also about listening to what whispers. The universe is trying to guide you, to confirm your alignment, and to shield you from harm. So keep your eyes open. Record repeating numbers, note unusual patterns, and honor the instincts that rise with them. Do not dismiss synchronicities as mere coincidence. They are divine punctuation marks reminding you that you are seen, guided, and protected. The eclipse is not random chaos. It is ordered intensity, and the signs that surface during this time are your map, your compass, and your warning siren. Pay attention, chosen ones. The universe speaks most clearly when the shadow falls. In a world that glorifies constant connection, silence and solitude are often misunderstood. People fear being alone, mistaking it for abandonment or emptiness. But for the chosen ones, especially during a full moon eclipse, isolation is not weakness, it is power. It is the shield that keeps chaos out and the sanctuary where clarity is born. During an eclipse, energies swirl unpredictably. Emotions run high, synchronicities multiply, and distractions intensify. In the middle of this storm, isolation becomes your anchor. By withdrawing from unnecessary contact, you remove yourself from the pull of manipulative energies, energy vampires, and false invitations. You give yourself space to tune in to the only voice that matters, your inner guidance. The ancients knew this well. Across cultures, people were instructed to stay indoors, fast, and remain still during eclipses. It wasn't superstition, it was survival. They recognized that to step outside was to expose oneself to spiritual turbulence. Isolation wasn't about fear of the dark, it was about honoring the light within. When you embrace isolation during the eclipse, you transform your home into a sacred temple. The walls become boundaries, the silence becomes prayer, and the solitude becomes a vessel for revelation. You are not cut off, you are connected, but in a higher way. The distractions of the world fade, and your spirit aligns more directly with divine downloads. For chosen ones, isolation is often the birthplace of breakthroughs. When you step away from the noise, you notice the whispers. You recognize patterns in your dreams, you catch the synchronicities in your waking life, and you feel the subtle shifts in your energy field. What would have been drowned out by conversation or activity now shines clearly in silence. The danger lies in mistaking isolation for loneliness. Loneliness says, "I am missing something." Isolation says, "I am protecting something." Loneliness drains, isolation restores. During the eclipse, what you protect in silence may very well be your destiny, and what you refuse to protect by opening doors may cost you alignment that takes months to rebuild. Think of great prophets, mystics, and visionaries throughout history. Their revelations rarely came in crowds, they came in deserts, caves, forests, and silent chambers. Solitude was not their punishment, it was their preparation. The eclipse offers you the same invitation, to step back, to seal the door, and to strengthen your spirit in silence. So chosen ones, when the moon darkens and the world feels restless, don't resist isolation. Lean into it. Turn your solitude into ceremony. Journal your thoughts, pray your affirmations, breathe into stillness. Every moment spent in sacred isolation during the eclipse multiplies in value. It is protection, clarity, and empowerment rolled into one. Remember, it is better to be alone with divine clarity than surrounded by company that carries confusion. In the silence of isolation, you are never truly alone. You are aligned, anchored, and awakened. When the moon is swallowed by shadow, the world feels unsettled. Fear rises, distractions multiply, and hidden energies push at your door. But chosen ones are not called to cower in the darkness, they are called to transform it. The eclipse is not only a test, it is an opportunity. It is the furnace where fear can become faith, where confusion can turn into clarity, and where darkness itself becomes a catalyst for light. Think of it like this: a seed must be buried in darkness before it breaks open into life. Similarly, the eclipse covers the light for a moment, not to destroy it, but to prepare it for rebirth. For the chosen ones, this means the eclipse is your chance to reset, to release, and to receive. What feels like spiritual turbulence can become spiritual upgrading if you use it wisely. How do you turn eclipse darkness into light? You do it by turning inward. Use this time to meditate, pray, or journal. Write down the fears that rise, and instead of resisting them, confront them. Ask, what is this fear teaching me? What is it showing me about my path? By naming your shadows, you strip them of their power. By facing them in the eclipse, you prepare to walk lighter once the light returns. Another way is through intention. The eclipse is like a spiritual amplifier. Whatever energy you hold during this period becomes magnified. If you hold chaos, chaos grows. But if you hold faith, clarity, or peace, those two expand. Speak affirmations over your life. I am protected. I am aligned. I am ready for the next chapter. Your words during the eclipse echo louder than usual, so make sure they are words of power. You can also treat the eclipse as a ritual of release. Burn old notes, letters, or memories that no longer serve you. Write down habits you want to leave behind and symbolically let them go. The shadow of the eclipse represents endings, but endings are also beginnings. What you release in darkness creates space for the light that follows. Most importantly, chosen ones must remember that your perspective determines your outcome. To the fearful, the eclipse is a threat. To the awakened, it is a portal. It can be the moment you spiral into distraction, or it can be the moment you ascend into greater purpose. The choice rests with you. So when the shadow covers the moon, don't fear it, transform it. Let the silence become prayer. Let the stillness become clarity. Let the darkness become the canvas where your new chapter begins. Because once the shadow passes and the light returns, it will not only be the moon that shines brighter, it will be you. Chosen ones, if you take nothing else from this message, remember this: your destiny is sacred, and during the full moon eclipse, it is being tested. Every knock on your door, every sudden invitation, every distraction that comes your way in this charged moment, it is not random. It is the universe asking, will you protect what I have placed within you? The door is more than wood and metal. It is a symbol of your life, your choices, and your future. When you open it carelessly during the eclipse, you risk letting in more than a visitor. You risk letting in confusion, heaviness, or forces that do not belong to your journey. But when you choose to keep it closed, you are not shutting out opportunity, you are preserving alignment. You are declaring that your spirit is not available for intrusion, that your path is not open for hijacking, and that your destiny is not for sale. This is the final and greatest act of protection, choosing your future over your fear, your clarity over your curiosity, your calling over the chaos knocking at your door. Remember, the eclipse magnifies everything. A small yes to distraction can ripple into months of delay, while a firm no can accelerate you into breakthrough. Understand this: the shadow does not last forever. The moon will shine again, the storm will pass, but what remains afterward is determined by the choices you made in the darkness. If you guarded your space, your energy, and your thresholds, you will step into the returning light stronger, clearer, and more aligned than ever before. Destiny is not stolen in dramatic moments. It slips away in the quiet ones, in the careless answers, in the doors opened without thought. That is why the eclipse is such a crucial checkpoint. It asks you to slow down, to discern, and to guard fiercely what heaven has written over your life. So, chosen ones, let this be your declaration during the eclipse. I will not open the door to deception. I will not bow to distraction. I will not trade my destiny for a moment of curiosity. My path is protected. My spirit is sealed. My future is untouchable. Carry this truth with you as the shadow passes. Know that every act of resistance, every boundary held, every knock unanswered is not a loss. It is a victory. You are not missing out. you are preserving the very blessing that will carry you forward. The final message is simple yet powerful: guard your destiny, because what you protect in the dark will flourish in the light. And when the eclipse ends, the world will not only see the moon shining again, it will see you shining, chosen, prepared, and unstoppable.